everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Bifrost, where on each and every episode, we explore the world outside of Marvel's mighty Thor. That's right, guys. Super Faz is back. We're doing a Beyond the Bifrost really early, and we're doing it because one of our avid listeners, one of our most favorite guests, had a cool idea for a Beyond the Bifrost, so we decided to bring him back. That's right, guys. Aquados is here, and he had a very cool idea for what we're doing today. Welcome to the show, man. Nice to have you back.
Oh my gosh, it feels nice to be returning, not across the Bifrost, but to go to the galaxies and universes and multiverses beyond the Bifrost. Specifically, we've done DC, but like I'm sure we will get around to doing. Like, I can't wait for us to do an image book for the first time. That would be insane. But
or we could even do things like the new Iron Man run. Like, there's stuff we can do that's not related that would fit.
I will say this: Joshua Williamson is a reason that I would read Iron Man and Carmen Carnero, but that's not what we're talking about today. Super Faz. I am really excited. I don't want to leave DC K.O. yet. I don't want to leave our fighting tournament of super power scaling yet. So let's just not. Let's not leave.
No, I mean, that makes sense. So listeners, we got a treat for you today. Aquados wanted to think more about DC K.O. and his pitch, which I approved in our Beyond the Bifrost offices, was to go through the entire DC K.O. bracket as if it was actually a 1v1 Tournament of Power arc. We're doing it Dragon Ball Z style. They're doing a 1v1 fight. They're in a neutral ground. It's just a battle straight up. We're going to need to make our pitches to why one person wins or the other. And we're going through the whole draw. So there's not going to be like DC K.O. where there are weird twists and things get changed around and characters leave and come back. We're doing 1v1. That's it. We're putting it all the way through. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am going to be extremely biased. He's going to be very biased about his particular guy. They're on the same half of the draw, so that's going to lead to an interesting semifinal.
They can't meet in the finals. They can't.
So we can't have an extremely biased one, and somehow we all know Batman's going to win, so we'll have to figure out a way around that. We're going to have some fun. Ryan, are there any other rules we should tell them before we jump right in?
No, we're doing, I guess we're doing knockout style. So, like, this isn't like a lethal, like you have to kill everybody, because we didn't want to deal with the morality question.
Yeah, that's good. Otherwise, Superman just wouldn't even play, and that's
right.
That's not worth playing this game.
Yeah, and some of them, like Lobo, would be too excited, and he would just, he would go all fragging insane all over everybody.
Insane.
So. That's the only thing, is that we're doing knockouts, incapacitate. Like, you're just trying to win a fight. You're not trying to kill a friend.
Yeah, so think about listeners. There's like a bunch of Superman comics over the years where he has to box people, and he literally knocks them out by knocking them. They're out of the boxing ring after a big fight or whatever, and he uses his endurance twin. That's the kind of stuff we're doing. Or even in DC K.O., they don't always kill them when they win think of it like All Fight Month, but we're not doing the different variants. We're not doing 2 out of 3. We're not doing different ground that gives advantages, just because Ryan and I don't know these characters that well. I can't tell you about the different Starro variants and which one is going to dominate this fight.
Yeah. We're doing the character as they are walking into DC K.O. because
that's the last thing we should point. Yeah. Now, Ryan, do they have their weapons? We didn't talk about this ahead of time. Do they have the DC K.O. specific weapons?
Like anything you associate with that character traditionally, like Wonder Woman is going to have her sword and her lasso and her shield. Aquaman is going to have his trident. Batman is going to have his shark spray,
utility belt.
His bat surfboard that I'm sure.
Does Superman have his knuckles made of suns, and does Batman have his like adamantium or whatever skeleton thing?
I mean, does Batman have his adamantium skeleton?
Yeah, whatever it was called, his little spacesuit. I can't remember. I think it was nth metal actually, but yeah,
it's like his bat suit. Sure, like what they are walking into DC K.O. with is what we will generally assume they have in each round of these fights. So yeah.
All right. Well, Superman's going to destroy people with these suns, so we'll have to see how that goes.
I think we're going to have a fun conversation. I'm excited to see where we butt heads, but I'm also excited to see how, like, the people that were eliminated early in the narrative comic version of this, like how would they have actually fared in a straight up one-on-one fight?
Yeah,
I think that
there's
is
a lot
intriguing.
of heavy hitters, right? That we've
Yeah.
left off the board because they were just wiped out because it was a race in DC K.O. one, and that's not it. All right, guys, we're jumping into this because we got millions of fights to get through and only hundreds of hours of time to get to it. The first fight is Superman and Giganta. Now, Ryan, do you want to make a pitch for Giganta before we put Superman through, or are you okay with just going right through?
No, not really. Like Giganta is, I mean, she's massive, she's physical, but I think maybe the biggest thing is Superman's got her beaten on strength. But another thing that keeps Giganta like completely lopsided in this fight is I just found this out that when she grows, her mental capacity does not grow with her body. So like it's a small brain controlling a big body.
Oh, so she gets
Superman's
like
got-
she gets dumber the bigger she gets.
Well, yeah, essentially, like her brain stays the same size, and Giganta's body gets bigger. So it's she's more lumbering, and yeah, so I just think Superman obviously has gotten her beat, but I like to add that little caveat in there that it's like, oh, how does Giganta win anything then? So Superman easily goes through in his first fight. It's not even.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if
It's
her
a
big thing
one-punch
strength.
knockout.
Yeah, if she's not as strong as him and her big power is strength, then there's no chance. So I'm good to move that one on.
Yeah.
All right. Fight 2, Captain Atom and Power Girl. This one is interesting. Do you want to start, Aquador? Yeah.
So here was the thing that I needed to know what Captain Atom's weakness was. Because Power Girl is essentially Supergirl, but from a different Earth. So, okay.
And with a boob window.
Yes, that is very important. I think Power Girl's like her brutal, aggressive, raw power is going to disrupt Captain Atom, even though like he's got top tier energy powers. I just don't think he's going to be in the fight long enough to.
Okay. Did you read Superman versus Captain Atom?
I did not.
So they were extremely even matched. Atom actually won the first fight with Superman because Superman hesitated. He didn't want to actually fight, right? So like Captain Atom is a Superman level threat. So the question will come down to like, do you think Power Girl will kind of have the aggression and the power to get herself through that? Because she's, almost Superman level, but she doesn't have the fist that he does.
I think she does not have the hesitation that Superman does. So yeah. I don't even see her playing fair. Like Clark is probably going to play fair more often than not. I don't think Power Girl has that problem. So I'm willing to give this one to her also because I don't really know how Power Girl is subdued if she follows basic Kryptonian physiology and she has weaknesses to magic and kryptonite.
So I think that some of his strongest versions use magic, which is how he was able to beat Superman, but I don't know if the base one does. So I'm content to give her the win, but it's close. Like he's pretty strong.
Yeah. Let's go Power Girl then. I mean, I know that was my pick, but let's.
I'm okay with that. I'm not going to fight you too hard, just a little bit, so that when the listeners out there go, "Oh, you didn't even read Captain Atom versus Superman," like I know, but it is his podcast that we're borrowing to do Beyond. So sometimes you just got to throw him a bone, Okay, so next, Guy Gardner and Firestorm. What do you think about this one? We got a Green Lantern and we got a pretty cool combo.
So Firestorm's abilities are probably the one person in this field that I needed the most refreshing on.
Yeah.
Because he's basically a nuclear reactor.
Yeah.
He has unlimited energy, but I think that their two weaknesses are somewhat similar. Guy is incredibly confident to the point of hubris, but Firestorm has that dual mind thing going on where he has two consciousnesses going on at the same time. So I'm like, okay, who is stronger in that respect? I give the edge to Firestorm.
So I think I agree. I think that they're super close, and in like power level, at least using the most recent DC movie as a basis, he's not Superman level, but he's not Superman level. You know, like he's a similar playing field Guy Gardner, but the guy is such a dick, and he's not gonna like do the right things, and he's gonna like he might get the lead and then start like slowing down and chirping him and stuff. I think that'll get him. Firestorm has the doubt of the other guy being like, "Hey man, you're
right.
Like, what are you doing?" But like, I agree. I think he's got it, and it might entirely be because of watching the Arrowverse and really liking that Firestorm. But I'm good with that. I'm good with Firestorm here.
Firestorm moves on to the second round.
Very good. Jay Garrick and Cheetah. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, one of them has the Speed Force and one of them doesn't.
Yeah, but one of them has like claws. It's a pretty close fight, if you ask me.
One of them has a metal hat that they can use as a frisbee.
Yeah, but the other one has claws and leopard spots and stuff. Cheetah spots, I guess.
Yeah, Cheetah has leopard spots.
I don't think we have to spend too much time on this one. I think Jay gets.
I love Cheetah. Like it's no shade to Cheetah, but I just think Jay can tap into the Speed Force. Like it's
now does Cheetah like compete with Wonder Woman like she did in the movie, or is that just the movie that made her that powerful?
I think there's there's several different versions of Cheetah. Like there's just like a lady that wears a cat suit and it's kind of like a knockoff Catwoman. Mm-hmm. And then later versions like gave her these mystically enhanced abilities where she's more like a werewolf, like a lupine kind of supernaturally enhanced character. I still think that Wonder Woman, more often than not, like she has a clear advantage on that one.
Okay, I'm good with that then, just because of the Speed Force. But I do think that as far as Flashes go, Jay is not one of the stronger ones. I think that the Speed Force won't get through too far. Yeah, but I think he can get through.
Again, we're not talking about Barry. We're not talking about Wally West. Like, but Jay, a subpar Flash is probably better than most.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Okay. That ends our top quarter. And we're going to do the whole first round first, is the way we're going to do this, right? We're not going to work quarters at a time. Okay. So next is Aquaman and King Shark. I want to start with this one. So Aquaman can control fish. Sharks are not fish. They're different. They're sharks. King Shark is much bigger than Aquaman. He's much better looking than Aquaman. He's so much cooler than Aquaman. And he's much less blonde. And if you've seen the Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad, whatever one James Gunn did, he says hand, and it makes the crowd laugh. He goes, hand, and that's about it. So he has my vote, subject to what you have to say.
I mean, this one's, no offense to the king. This one's not close.
I mean, Aquaman's not even really king right now, whereas King Shark has king in his name. That's another good argument, Ryan. Thank you for that.
You're right. He's not king. He's emperor now. So,
okay.
Well, and it's just basically like the power that Aquaman's what power that Aquaman's. We really got off sync there.
There is a non-zero chance that Aquaman can control King Shark. For that reason alone, ignoring anything else, that it's just kind of over at that point.
Right. It's like, I don't even think Aquaman would need to use the blue in this fight, which is his new like god tier ability. I just think Arthur's got this one because King Shark also not super strategic, and Arthur's not known for being a strategist, but like he's got to be more strategic than King Shark.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you're right. I'm willing to go there this time, but just know that it was a battle because King Shark is a much better character than Aquaman. Okay, next was listeners. In case you're wondering, he was drinking water as I said that, so he couldn't compete with my logic. So next up is fun because of the names. These are two fun ones in a row: Connor Hawk and Hawkman. What do you think, Ryan?
God.
I think Hawkman clears this pretty easily, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Right. I think Connor Hawk is an interesting, it's interesting, but okay, like his fighting abilities, martial arts, all that, but like at the end of the day, he's a human Man who has skills. Hawkman has nth metal, which is immediately a massive upgrade on whatever Connor has. And Carter Hall kind of doesn't give a shit if he hurts people.
Yeah.
So I think Carter clears this one.
Yep.
Not easily, but he definitively clears this one.
I agree. It's not without some difficulty. None of these are really without some difficulty, apart from like Superman Giganta
Right.
and Aquaman King Shark, but that's just because they're the top seeds in their quarters, I think. But yeah, that's I'm good with that. All right. Lex Luthor and Black Lightning.
I really was looking for a reason. I think Black Lightning's cool.
He's cool as shit. He's so cool.
Just don't think it's one of those things where in a one-on-one fight, Lex is such a shit that I just think Black Lightning's too good of a guy.
Well, and also like Lex has his power armor, which means that he gets to like bring stuff with him. Like, you know, he's got an anti-Black Lightning machine in there that's just gonna render the electric powers useless, and then he's just a guy, right? Like, Lex is gonna be annoying as fuck to deal with as we get through this tournament, and I think he's gonna get this one pretty easily because of that.
Yeah, no shade to Black Lightning, but Lex is like evil businessman Batman. Like he's got plans. So yeah, I think Lex is moving on.
Demon and Supergirl.
Okay.
You say okay, that's interesting. I was ready to kind of move forward with Supergirl, subject to how much you've learned about the Demon. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
So Etrigan, Jason Blood, is a magically enhanced demonic entity.
Yep.
What are Kryptonians weak against?
Magic.
So I wonder if Etrigan can summon enough Hellfire power to deal with Kara. Like that was the thing where I was like, how much of a how much is Kara going to bring to this? Like, is she just going to go in and go right at him like Power Girl would, or is Etrigan going to have some time to kind of mess with her? In the end, I don't think Etrigan's going to have time because I just think Kara's going to go in there, deal with the problem, and be done with it. But again, like you said for a few previous ones, I don't think it's a zero chance.
No,
because Etrigan does have a proficiency in the thing that Kryptonians are weak to.
Did you read Lex Luthor versus the Demon?
I'll give you a cut through to all this. I read Aquaman and Hawkman.
Okay. So in that one, Lex defeats the Demon by literally making a deal with the Demon and taking his power for himself and then just killing the guy. So Supergirl's not going to do that. So because of that, I agree with you that like if he gets a foothold, he could beat her because of the magic thing. I agree, though. I don't think he's going to get a foothold. I think Supergirl gets through that one. Yeah. Okay. Wonder Woman and Starro, which is very fun.
I mean, I think it's interesting. Starro's mind control makes it kind of interesting, but I just don't think one-on-one. Like Starro can't use mind control of other people to aid them. Yeah. So Diana clears this one pretty quickly. And Starro has the big red eye that's kind of like their off button.
Yeah. No, I agree. Again, based on the Suicide Squad movie, you just got to poke that thing really hard. Wonder Woman has a nice sword for poking, and Starro can't make like 50 million other Justice Leaguers to fight her in the meantime. So I think she clears that pretty quick. But I do like seeing a big starfish, and we got to give respect on our guy. Okay, Lobo and Plastic Man.
Okay, I told you before we started, there were a few of these fights that I was legitimately like so excited to talk about. This is one of them.
This is one of them? Okay, go.
Because Plastic Man is essentially unkillable.
Yep.
And Lobo can regenerate from just a drop of his blood.
Yeah.
I think this is a war of attrition. This fight actually may not ever end. And I think my heart says Plastic Man. But
interesting.
I know Lobo would never stop fighting. And maybe Plastic Man eventually just gets bored with it.
So I think even less than that, the way that people beat Plastic Man is by either melting him or freezing him. I
Okay.
have to imagine that Lobo's going to set this man on fire at some point. And I could see him getting on his motorcycle and flying him into the sun, and then Plastic Man melts and Lobo wins. I could see, but also Lobo's just a guy. But also Lobo can fight Superman one-on-one with pretty good success, right? So
yeah, it's funny because like in my little bit of research I did beforehand, it was like Batman views Plastic Man as like a secret weapon.
yeah,
Like, and Superman has gone toe to toe with Lobo. So I'm like, this one to me legitimately is a toss up. I could see both of them winning. I would enjoy both of them winning. This, I'll say this. This is the fight that I would want to attend the most.
okay, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I still think I lean Lobo because of his, like you said, his bloodlust.
Yeah.
I think Plastic Man will, in the event of a tie like this, Plastic Man will relent enough that Lobo will get through.
I'll give you Lobo. Yeah,
Okay.
let's go Lobo.
But those are great ones. I'm very happy with that.
That is legitimately one that I was like, I don't know how that would actually go, but I want some genius writer to write me that comic.
Yeah. Just like a 32-page beat 'em up. Yeah. Okay. Swamp Thing and Vixen. I'm kind of all Swamp Thing on this, unless if you have a reason to go for Vixen.
No offense to Vix on this one, but Swamp Thing is a force of nature. He's not a guy.
Well,
he's the Earth. Like
he's a guy. He's a guy.
Alec Holland is a guy. Swamp Thing is the green.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
And because you're super into the blue right now, I'll let you have this. You know, I have no issues with that. Swamp Thing, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Cyborg and Batwoman.
Okay. The mother box is important. And being able to boom tube things is important. Kate's a very skilled martial artist and very capable fighter. I just think Vic has this one.
So I need you to enlighten me on Batwoman. Does she have the kind of like preparedness and ingenuity of a Batman, or is she more of like a street fighter, like a Nightwing?
So what I know of Batwoman is she's a vigilante crime fighter that is Batman coded, but she doesn't have Bruce's prolific, contingency planned mindset.
Okay.
She's much more like head down, we're going.
Okay.
And I just think he's much more on the Batman side, to be honest. Is like he's prepared for situations like that. And he has what I like about Cyborg in this scenario is he has several different ways of dealing with problems that aren't just punch it harder.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good with that. If it was Batman, I would pick Batman, but Batwoman, I'm willing to go Cyborg if she doesn't have kind of the resources and the contingency planning, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Speaking of the Dark Knight, Batman and Star Sapphire. Now, I know shockingly little about Star Sapphire. I'm still Team Batman for this, but if you want to make a pitch, I'm happy to hear it.
So I know that it's insanity to imply that Batman would lose a fight, but I think Star Sapphire is actually a very interesting first round opponent for Bruce because
it's definitely an upset alert where he needs to be like on his game.
Her powers are emotion based.
Mm-hmm.
So she feeds off of emotional energy and she can alter and create things out of emotional energy. If she found a way to unlock or somehow knock Bruce off his game, which many villains have tried and have failed, I think that because the Star Sapphire core work off of emotional spectrum, I think it at least gives her a shot.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I know this is ridiculous because like in universe logic is like Bruce Wayne is only a man. It's like, yeah, but we never treat him like a man.
No, he's also we already said he's in his nth metal suit, so like that's going to help with this kind of stuff.
He has nth metal now? Wow.
Yeah, that's what he had at the beginning of DC K.O. Remember his big bat suit made of metal that the Joker poked through and killed him?
I know, but nth metal is different. Like
I'm pretty sure that's what he called it, which was very ridiculous.
If that, I massively missed that one. Then, I think eventually Bruce finds a way around like the emotional trickery and manipulation. But I don't think it's a 0% chance that Star Sapphire wins this. But I think Bruce goes on.
I also think like the thing about the emotion thing is like against a lot of the leaguers that would give her a huge advantage, but Batman is like all about keeping his emotions in check. So if someone's going to overcome that, it's going to be him, right? Like, and even like you put her against Damian, and Damian's fucked, right? You put him against Jason Todd, Jason's fucked.
Yeah.
Even Dick Grayson, like all the Robins, they're done. But Batman will keep his emotions in check.
He's different, yeah. Speaking of Robins,
it's very interesting. Battle of the Robins in round one. We got the Red Hood and we got Damian Wayne. Does it literally say Damian Wayne?
Yeah, it says Damian Wayne.
So we have Red Hood and we have Robin. We have Jason Todd and we have Damian Wayne. I think that Damian is a better fighter than Bruce, which makes him necessarily a better fighter than Jason. And Jason will be fueled by rage and height, but Damian has a size advantage in that he can take down the center of gravity pretty quickly, and he's willing to kill if he needs to. What do you think?
Right. I honestly, that last point is the thing that for me swings it in Damian's favor.
I mean, it's not that Jason never kills, but like Damian will. Yeah.
Right. I just think Damian's much more cerebral in my opinion. Jason seems much more like, again, kind of like what we were saying about with Batwoman. It's like head down, push through. Or, shoot your way out of this. Much more direct. Like I have one way of dealing with something, and it's this way. I think Damian has much more of a versatile skill set. Physically, I think Jason has this one because Damian is teeny tiny. But like,
how much Damian have you read though? He's been trained by the League of Shadows or Assassins or whatever they're called for so long. Like,
no, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, if it was like a wrestling match, like they get close quarters, I think Jason could physically get the upper hand on him, but I don't think that's how Damian would approach the fight in the first place.
Yeah.
So I give this to Damian.
Sweet. We won't have to go too far into it. I read Super Sons recently, and Damian was like way above his weight class on all of that. So like. That makes sense to me. Okay. This one's a fun one, Ryan. Zatanna and Big Barda.
I have high hopes for Zatanna. I'll just say that.
Yep, me too.
Barda, what's crazy is, as little that I know about the New Gods, I think Barda would, like, if she got her hands on Zatanna, like, Barda would fuck her shit up.
Yeah, it's over in a second if she gets her hands on her, but
it's getting a hold of her that's the problem.
Yeah.
And all the things Zatanna can do with the setting and warping reality and her spells and all that. Like, I don't think, because the thing with Zatanna's spells is she has to say them backwards.
Yep.
And she's been doing it for so long. I don't think Barda's going to find a way to, around that. I think Zatanna wins, but I think Barda like gives it an absolute like A for effort.
Yep. I'm with you on that. That works for me. Or a B for Barda. Okay.
B plus for Barda.
Final battle of round one. Harley Quinn and Metamorpho the Absorbing Man.
The Absorbing Man?
Or the Element Man.
The Element Man.
Too much Thor coming through here.
I was going to say, that's across the Bifrost, man. At the end of the day, Harley Quinn is a mortal person, and Metamorpho can change literally untold amounts of times to adapt to a situation.
See, I thought you were going to say that at the end of the day, Harley Quinn is a psychopath and Metamorpho's not, so because of that, she'll win. But like, you are right. Like he just has to do the thing he did in Superman and turn her like into acid, and she's just done.
Yeah, right.
Over at that point.
Yeah, like no big comically sized hammer is gonna like, Harley's fun, yes, but in a one-on-one fight, I think Metamorpho just, again, it's that theme that keeps coming up in my mind. It's like he can fix the problem so many different ways, and because of his physical makeup, literally unlimited amounts of ways.
Yeah, now I think the Harley Quinn Zatanna all fight month went for Harley Quinn. because of like silly comic shenanigans, but this is not what that is. This is a 1v1 knockdown drag out fight. I'm happy to go
serious.
I'm happy to go Metamorpho for this one to end the round.
And complete.
Listeners, that's round one. We're going to quickly recap our Sweet 16, and then we're going to get into them, okay? So the first battle is Superman and Power Girl. Then there's Firestorm and Jay Garrick. Aquaman versus Hawkman. Lex Luthor versus Supergirl. Wonder Woman versus Lobo. Swamp Thing versus Cyborg. Batman versus Robin. And Zatanna versus Metamorpho. You'll know, listener, that the brackets aren't exactly balanced. There's some balanced ones where they're not actually that strong, like Jay Garrick and Firestorm, and there's some ones where you've got absolute fucking heavy hitters, like Superman and Power Girl. So we're gonna have to see what happens. So the beginning of the Sweet 16, Ryan, who do you have with Superman and Power Girl?
I mean, I think this is an interesting fight, but I don't think it's a debated fight.
No, I think that Superman's just a little bit better at everything than Power Girl is, right? And that makes it kind of...
And also, Superman's been, like, he's smarter. Like, I mean, and not that Power Girl isn't smart, she's just like a dumb brute. But, like, Clark has fought so many Kryptonians.
Yeah.
Despite being the last son of Krypton. Like, it's...
Well, and you could even do the silly thing of he's been on Earth longer, so his cells are more charged, therefore he's more powerful. You don't even need to go any deeper than that. Just strictly power for power. He's more powerful than Power Girl, and like you said, she's his 100th Kryptonian fight, whereas she probably hasn't had that many.
In the grand scheme, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's easy for me. I was a little nervous about a Kryptonian, but I'm glad that we got there. Firestorm and Jay Garrick, Ryan. This is a real fight for Jay.
And I think he loses.
I agree.
Mostly because Firestorm's abilities are so, like, they're so variable. Like, he can change... nuclear power, molecular control. Like, he is at that level where it's like, it's more like, what can't he do?
Mm-hmm.
And like we said in the first round, Jay is not a top tier speedster like Barry Allen or Wally West are. And again, there's probably some Flash fan that's like, well, actually, I'm like, okay, but
he's called Golden for a reason, everybody. Yeah, no.
Yeah, like I take
Firestorm. I'm good with that as well. Yeah. I think Firestorm wins that one. Yeah. Okay. Aquaman and Hawkman. Do we even need to do this, or can we just rely on DC K.O?
We already saw this fight, and Arthur kind of mopped him. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No offense to Carter. I love Carter Hall. But
look, a base Aquaman and base Hawkman is an interesting fight. The problem is Aquaman has a power up that makes this a non-issue.
Right. And like even Carter with all of his powers, with all of his like items, I'm sorry, like Aquaman can pull the water out of your body. So
and he also, like, depending on the Aquaman look, Jason Momoa is extremely attractive, and that's a tiebreaker if we ever need one.
Who was the actor that played Hawkman in Black Adam? He's a good looking guy.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy, but he's not Jason Momoa.
He's not Jason Momoa. Yeah, no.
Okay. Lex Luthor and Supergirl, I want you to go first on this, because obviously it happens in DC K.O. eventually, but not in the way you think.
I really want to say Kara here.
Really? Okay, well, maybe I should go first then. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Lex has taken down Clark before. And I just think Lex is going to be ruthless enough. But I again, it's one of those like 50-50s. Like I want to see Kara beat Lex. But I know that Lex is very capable of taking on Kryptonians. I don't know. It's kind of a toss for me. I would love to go Supergirl on this one.
Yeah,
but
I have to go Lex because of the tag team fight for DC K.O. And listeners, we should probably note that obviously we're randomly spoiling little parts of DC K.O. here and there. Hopefully you're not watching this unless if you've actually read DC K.O. And if not, go read it and come back. Continuing now, though, Lex tag teams with Supergirl and then immediately uses Red K to control her. So like he's going to have some sort of contingency plan, whether it's basic Green K or something else. And he's going to win this fight, unfortunately. Like Superman would be able to kind of deal with the kryptonite problem, but we watched Supergirl not deal with it in the actual story. So we can just stick with that and say, unfortunately, Lex gets through that. Yeah. Okay. Wonder Woman and Lobo was also an all fight month. And Ryan, you didn't read that.
We had lots of all fight months actually happen in our...
Yeah. So you didn't read that one, right? Do you have any thoughts before I tell you what actually happened?
No, I didn't. I just think Diana has, if it's gonna be a fight between two fighters that can die, regardless of like if Lobo is regenerated from a drop of blood.
Yeah, because knocked out. That gets knocked out rather than being fully eliminated. Yeah.
Diana being the strategist and the warrior she is, I don't think Lobo can hang. Cool fight is another one I want to watch, but and I'll go back and read. But I think Diana's got this one.
Yeah, so you should read that one. It was really fun, and it really kind of went with the fact that Lobo, while trying to be a better person, is still kind of a misogynistic asshole, and that made it work really well for the issue. And Wonder Woman, she does get to turn it around and kind of teach him a fucking lesson. So Wonder Woman wins, but again, great difficulty. They had that was the most boxing like one of all of these, where it was straight up like punch for punch. She just had one more punch. Okay, Swamp Thing and Cyborg, all science versus the green.
I go Swamp Thing 100%.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mostly because eventually Cyborg, like, though enhanced and it has all these things and everything I said in the first round still holds true. Swamp Thing is more abstract than, he's not going to die.
Yeah.
There's no real fear in that.
Remember, it's not about dying though, it's about knocking out, but still but I'm saying,
I agree with you, yeah. I'm saying you have to treat him differently than someone who's like fighting not to lose. He's like, I'm not a winner or a loser. I just am. I am, always. So I think Swamp Thing wins that.
The one thing that's worth talking about though is that you can sever his connection to the green with science. So do you think that Cyborg would have anything prepared for Swamp Thing if necessary?
I mean, potentially, but I don't know what it would be, and there's probably a frustrated DC fan who quit.
Like literally, the mother box could do this. You idiots, is what they're thinking right now.
I just don't think. I don't think the opportunity is going to present itself because I don't think Swamp Thing is going to be susceptible to. I don't think he's going to be susceptible to letting it happen. That's what my mindset is on that one.
I'm good with that. We see lots of fights where Cyborg wins, but we think it's more likely than not that Swamp Thing wins, and that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you on that. We've been so agreeable today, man. We'll have to see as we get deeper.
Oh, we shall fight.
Okay, Batman and Damian Wayne. Now, you haven't read Night Fight, so you can't really opine on this, but yeah. What do you think, Rye Guy?
I mean, I think the old man's got this.
So I am going Batman, but like I could see Bruce hesitating and Damian not. And it could be that much, like that little of a difference to be a win, right? I think Bruce wins more than he loses. But 6 out of 10. Like not like a 9 out of 10, he's better because he's the old man teaching them or anything. I think that Damian has what it takes to win a lot of these. It's just if I had to pick who'd win the most in a 10-game fight or in a 1-game series, if I had to bet on it, I'm going Bruce.
Yeah. I think another thing is with Bruce, we're still talking about mortal people. Damian is the most susceptible mortal, probably he's maybe the most susceptible mortal left. But like, I just think Batman's gonna deal with this in a very much like, okay, like we're gonna fight, but like at the end of this, like you're still my son, like kind of way. Like, but I think he's gonna clean up on this one.
Yep.
Also, Batman has this ability to stay more even keel than Damian. Like Damian's much more aggressive, and Batman is aggressive, but not in the same way that Damian is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He would. He has controlled aggression, whereas Damian might lash out a little bit. That seems fair to me. I'm okay with that. But I just need you to know it's close. Okay, Zatanna and Metamorpho. I think this is an easy Zatanna win, and we can move right on.
Yeah, Zatanna win because not only can a Metamorpho like do all the changes, Zatanna can rewrite reality, and that's kind of a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, so. No, I do want to caution you for later rounds that the rewriting reality thing doesn't happen very much in the comics, so I don't think she's gonna be able to rely on it in a lot of these ones.
I know she's not like I know she's not doing Wanda stuff where she's like, no more Superman, you know, like I know that, but again, the skill set is so varied.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And
Metamorpho's just a guy who can turn into things. Like he'll beat a human like Harley, but I don't think he's
right,
gonna beat Zatanna. Yeah.
that's the main qualifier. We're dealing with the heaviest of heavy hitters.
Yeah. Okay, kids, we're in the Elite Eight. We got Superman and Firestorm, Aquaman and Lex, Wonder Woman and Swamp Thing, Batman and Zatanna. This is interesting. The first one's not interesting. Superman and Firestorm, Ryan. Do you have a problem with Superman making the semifinals?
No, and mostly because like Firestorm's got a lot of like similar like no restrictions.
Yep.
But like one restriction is like that mental link where Clark doesn't have to run anything by anybody. Like he doesn't have to think about what he's doing. He doesn't have to coalesce with somebody. Firestorm, in a certain sense, does, and I think Clark wins this one pretty quickly.
That makes sense to me. I got no problems with that. That's good. Unfortunate for Firestorm, but good for my guy. Aquaman and Lex. I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. Lex is a man, right? Men can drown, right?
Not when they're wearing their war suit.
Okay. Can men recover from a trident to the face?
Will the Trident get through the war suit that is built to handle Superman?
Come on. Yeah, but he always wears it like uncovered. So I'm like, okay. I think the big thing with Arthur now is he can essentially do what like Magneto does with pulling iron out of people's blood. If Arthur wanted to go full I gotta deal with Lex, like he has we'll put it this way. He has dealt more harshly with villains before. He fights super powered tech villains all the time. So I think Aquaman wins this one because at the end of the day, I think Arthur is going to do what needs to be done to deal with a threat like Lex, especially if he views Lex as a threat to his kingdom, his people, all of that. Arthur's very territorial with that.
There's also some extra motivation that if he doesn't beat Lex, Lex has a better shot at Superman because of the history and stuff. So like that feels kind of like I need to win this so that I can take on Superman mano a mano instead of this huge advantage of Lex knowing how to beat his guy. Now, remind me though, how did Aquaman lose in DC K.O?
He lost to a red kryptonite empowered Supergirl. He didn't lose to Lex.
So he lost in the 1v1 with Lex, but Lex used his tag team to beat her. That's what happened?
Yeah. Because Hawkman and Aquaman go to fight Lex because Kara's like, why did you pick me to be your partner? And then Lex did the Lex thing and did the red kryptonite. So there's no red kryptonite empowered Kryptonian here.
Okay. I personally think Lex still wins because he's Lex Luthor. I think Lex might win the whole tournament. I'm going to be hard pressed to see him get through this. We might have to coin flip this one. It's
here. Put it this way. Neither one of them is getting past next round.
Okay, I mean that's fair. So you want me to let you have Aquaman so he can be a semifinalist?
I'll put it this way. I think there is more of a chance that all in Aquaman can beat all in Lex than vice versa.
Okay. I'm willing to give you Aquaman here because it's close and because I don't have a coin handy.
Yes.
But that's our biggest disagreement so far. Maybe because I've read all the like modern, like not modern, the Williamson and on Lex stories, and he's just so fucking overpowered right now. And I get that Aquaman has the blue, but like I fully believe that Lex would be like, oh, that blue thing that you used to have a connection to, and then Aquaman would be like, used to? What do you mean? And then that would be it, you know?
Again, you say I've read all of modern Lex stuff. I've read all of modern Aquaman stuff. Like the
like 5 books because he's so unpopular, eh? Yeah.
the connection to all water across multiverses is like, oh, so we can talk to alien fish. It's like, no, that's not what it is.
So you can talk to alien fish.
I could talk to fish on other planets. But I know Arthur's not making it past next round. So I appreciate the
bone that we've thrown here. Yeah.
The knee you've done on that one.
So at this point, you're like throwing all of your eggs in Zatanna beating Superman, eh? With the magic. I can see where you're going with this. That's interesting.
No, just because you can see my cursor on the sheet doesn't mean you know where I'm going with this.
It's interesting. So anyway, Wonder Woman Swamp Thing is interesting because of the green versus Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman's going to win. I have a funny argument as to why. And I want to say it first, and then you can do some real conversation afterward. Okay.
Yeah.
The Amazons are amazing at keeping natural gardens. Logically, that means they're great at having natural herbicides and pesticides and so on and so forth. When I read about Swamp Thing, it told me that he's susceptible to regular things like DDT and stuff like that kill bugs and kill plants. So I think Wonder Woman will have some pesticide handy, and Swamp Thing will just die.
Can't believe you brought pesticide to this argument.
So we got to do Wonder Woman for that reason. But I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Also, she has a sword which could, trim the hedges, as it were, and shave Swamp Thing down as needed.
Oh no, these are all just fantastic arguments.
What's your reasoning for why Swamp Thing wins?
Complete control over the environment.
Okay.
Not just like, oh, I can grow some trees back. Like he has no like this is why I'm glad we determined that it's a neutral location.
Yep.
Because no matter what the neutral location is, Swamp Thing has a connection to that location. So like
a wrestling ring or like a boxing ring, what would he be able to use to help him with the location there? Like the water in the ground, the plant life on the ground underneath it, or like what? How do you?
Yeah.
How's that going to help against Wonder Woman?
First of all, the ability to know at all times, have complete planetary consciousness. Like he's not going to get thrown off. He's not going to get surprised. Nothing she's going to do is going to be like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Because again, it's not a dude that controls some plants. It's a guy that has complete connection to the earth and the surroundings. I'm not saying Diana's like going to lose in like 10 seconds. I just don't think even the best strategy can compete with the totality of everything Swamp Thing brings to the fight.
But she also has the power of the earth, though. Like she's an earth goddess, right? So, I'm willing to give you Swamp Thing because the more I'm reading on the internet, people are saying that in the comics, most of the time he wins when they fight. So that's enough for me to give you the win. But I just think some of the stuff about him having like an intrinsic attachment to the earth, like Wonder Woman is Thor, and Thor has an intrinsic attachment to the earth because the earth is his mom, in the same way that the earth is one of Wonder Woman's moms, right? So she has a bit more of that to go with, but the internet is saying that's about a tie, and that he can restrain her and ignore the lasso of truth. And those two things make it very difficult for her to compete with him. So
yeah, there's no you're not going to be like, tell us where Rachel is. Like that's not going to be. Who's fuck's Rachel? But yeah, Swamp Thing. Yeah, that's
okay. I'm with you on that. Okay, Batman and Zatanna.
Okay, you go first because I'm so biased on this one. Like, it's not fair.
So Batman's just a guy. He doesn't have any magical powers. He doesn't have any sort of fantasy weapons that can deal with magic. He doesn't have any sort of way to win this. Zatanna has all the powers of the Scarlet Witch. But Batman is Batman. And he has a plan to take out every Justice League member, including Zatanna.
That logic.
And the biggest issue I have is like I just recently reading Super Sons. Damian, who's never figured out what to do against the Justice League before, is able to take out a mind-controlled evil cyborg because he quickly read Batman's plan for what to do if Cyborg ever attacked you. So I have to imagine that Batman has in his mind already, this is what I do to beat Zatanna, and she'll do some cool magic stuff, but he's Batman, and he's got it done. But I want you to convince me as to why Zatanna's going to win.
So the one thing Bruce can do against Zatanna and a sorceress so powerful, and the reason why, like, Zatanna is Scarlet Witch. If Scarlet Witch had to speak all of her spells,
Yeah, the speaking is a problem.
so if Bruce can find a way to take out the speech element, which I'm sure is the whole crux of the contingency plan for her.
That is, every time they fought in the comics, he muzzles her and then wins.
So I'm like, I don't want to. I like, here's where my inherent bias comes in. I don't think Bruce should win this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because power level wise, and just actually, no, I don't want to sound like one of those douchebags. The nature of her power is so incredibly strong that I just can't believe she's gonna be like, oh no, like, like, I don't know. I say Zatanna on this one. But I know, Batman is not a man. He is the ultimate prepared, blah, 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 blah. He's the Swiss Army superhero. I say Zatanna.
I still think, like, so I'm just reading up a bit right now. Has she recently got a power up? Is she more powerful now than she was a couple years ago?
That's a good question.
Because if not, like, she's losing to Deathstroke and Wonder Woman and a bunch of other people all the time. She has the potential to kick everybody's asses, but she doesn't in reality, right? So I find a hard time picking the most prepared guy ever who will be at his best in this fight no matter what, and her who could, if she plays her cards right, that's a magic joke for you, win this fight. I think that you kind of have to go with him in a winner take all only one, with saying that, again, she's gonna, like, Batman's winning all of his stuff 6 out of 10 times. He's not blowing anybody away. He's just getting over the edge for me because, like, she loses to people she shouldn't, and he never loses to anybody that he shouldn't.
So let me just to get down to the crux of your argument is that if it comes down to who's going to be more locked in for the fight, it's Bruce 100%.
Bruce is more
because there's a chance that Zatanna wouldn't be locked in.
But also think, like, if they're beside each other and they have to touch gloves, right, or whatever they have to do at the start of this fight, she now has to speak words to hurt him, and he gets to put his lightning fast reflexes up to put something on her mouth so she can't speak. She also might be able to get a word out and win, but also she goes at these sorts of fights and she picks the wrong first spell a lot, which results in longer drawn out fights. And if you give Batman an inch like that, it's over. You lose.
Yeah,
if you don't, right? Like,
if you give him an inch, you might as well give him a mile.
Yeah, so I think that's why I would go Batman here. But, like, I can see this barreling towards Batman versus Superman, and I have no idea how we're going to pick a winner there. So, like, we have this problem, but that's kind of like, I'm with you. I understand the ability for Zatanna to win. I just think that there's enough times in the comics where we see her not being as locked in, giving him a shot, and he gets through.
I will give you Batman on this, but I just want you to know one of my ways around Superman winning was getting Zatanna to the finals. I know that was very clear. But I don't think, God. And well, let's go to the semifinals because
there's still time. There's time.
I have some arguments to make.
Yeah, so the semifinals listeners are Superman and Aquaman, Wonder Who Ryan and I like, and then Swamp Thing in the upset and Batman. So let's start with Superman and Aquaman. We've already established that Superman's going to win, but I'd like you to make a pitch for me as to why you think that Aquaman could win.
I don't like this. So this fight would so overwhelmingly favor Clark in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to even think of scenarios where Arthur would have the advantage. Because even if you go off world, like, and I know we're talking about neutral location, but like if A lot of Arthur's strongest abilities require home field advantage.
Yeah, like in water, he's got a shot, right? But at a random sports ring.
Yeah, I love Arthur. I love Clark though too. Like I'm very much a Superman fan. I just think Clark has so many different ways to deal with a problem. Also, like they're friends. Like they are like they've been together, part of the Justice League forever. They've helped each other so many times deal with so many different problems. First of all, I don't even see them like without mind control or some weird magic shit happening to their brains. I don't see these two ever actually fighting each other.
It has to be like the Heart of Apocalypse is remaking reality, and you have to have a 1v1 fight to see who's. Yeah, that's the only way it would make sense.
I will say this one thing about Arthur, and one thing about Clark that makes them both similar is they are more often than not fighting for a cause bigger than themselves. They're fighting for their people, whether it's the people of Metropolis, the people of Krypton, or the people of Atlantis. So I just think they would go all out because they have to go out. They don't know another way than to protect the people they love. So I would love to watch this fight, but I'm not. I got Aquaman tattooed on my body, and I'm not this ignorant.
I'm impressed. I thought you'd fight a lot harder for this one.
No. It helps that I also love Superman. So
yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I have not been thinking about this fight at all, and I'm trying to think of what to do when we get to Batman versus Superman. I'm gonna be honest. I agree. It's Superman. Aquaman would put up a fun fight. It's another one that would be worth watching, but unless if they're like in water and for some reason Superman's having trouble breathing, which as we know he can breathe underwater because he doesn't need to breathe. He just puts the mask on so the Atlanteans aren't as freaked out when he's around. I think that, and honestly, even in the water, Superman's so overpowered. It's difficult, but we don't need to fight about it too much. Swamp Thing and Batman, Ryan. What do you think?
I think Swamp Thing.
Really?
What do you mean, really?
Is Swamp Thing not a Justice Leaguer?
What do you mean?
Like, does he not occasionally fight with them? Do you not remember the Batman has a plan for everybody thing?
Right. Well, I think more that they've partnered up in Justice League Dark stuff. Okay. I don't remember. Again, this is a casual DC fans knowledge. I don't remember Swamp Thing being an official member of the main Justice League team, but I just go back to this thing of Swamp Thing is not a guy. Like Batman is not. He may have a contingency for all the other guys and women like that he knows, but Swamp Thing is first of all, he's unkillable. You can't kill him, like because you're not fighting a dude. So the consciousness matters because a lot of times Batman has the element of surprise. He has the element of fear, and he can impose fear on villains. You're not doing that with Swamp Thing. You're like, I don't think one-on-one Bruce brings enough to that fight to make me think, well, yeah, sorry, Swampy, like he's got you on this one. I don't think he can Batman his way around it.
So the problem we have is that in the comics, Batman always, or at least often, Batman's around it. There are instances, which we didn't have with some of the other ones, where Swamp Thing wins. So that's, something. But I just think, like, I really wanted to give Wonder Woman the win because of the similar, like, it's as simple as, like, you can have super pesticides or herbicides, I guess, and he's dead. Wonder Woman might not do that. Batman literally would. His utility belt has an anti-Swamp Thing. Like, if science or magic can separate him from the Green, that midway through this fight, Batman's separating him from the Green and then beating the shit out of a human being.
Hold on, not with some bullshit from his utility belt.
But you told me, you're the one who said he has his belt for this. He has to have a contingency plan.
That's great. He has his toolkit. Swamp Thing is connected to the foundation of the earth.
Yeah, but you can separate him from the Green with science. That's what it says.
I am not no. like I will concede that Superman can beat Swamp Thing because his natural power level is so much higher than Bruce's. I cannot allow a Superman Batman final fight.
The issue I have is that a Superman Batman final fight is way more fun than a Swamp Thing Superman final fight. Superman just destroys Swamp Thing.
What? Bruce is a man.
He's not a man. We have to stop treating Batman like he's a man. He's not a man.
He is a mortal man. Laser vision to the face. That fight's done.
With Superman and Batman?
Yes.
Oh, there's so much more fun to have with that, but that's okay.
Here's the thing. Supes wins both fights.
Yeah, no, I know, but like Batman, you can make an argument for how he loses because Batman beats him in the comics a bunch. It's usually bullshit because Superman's holding back, right? But like, all right, fine. Swamp Thing can win. I'm willing to concede that in a 10-game series, I could see Swamp Thing taking 6 because Batman can't obviously take him out from the green every time. And you're right that Swamp Thing is an elemental force of nature and Batman is just a dude in a cowl.
Hold on. I need you to hear that I need people in the back to hear that again. What? Batman's a what?
Batman is a demigod who is unbeatable and wins every fight.
I just couldn't give you that one thing.
No, of course not. I gave you the win. That's the most I could do. That's the best I can go with. It looks like actually any of their canon fights, they've had 2 canon fights and they were like tie/Swamp Thing wins. So I guess we can go with that, and that like the best thing that Batman could do is get him to a draw, but that's not enough to win this tournament. We need it to be a win. So we'll give it to Swamp Thing for you.
Oh, fine. For me.
Okay, listeners, we've got our final. We busted Ryan's bracket by not letting Satana get through Batman, but then he was so angry about it that he didn't let Swamp Thing lose here. He fought so hard because he has some sort of argument to try to convince us why Superman takes longer than 5 minutes to win this, and I'm excited to hear what you come up with.
So, tell me, oh great Super Fazio, how does Superman deal with? And I'm legitimately asking. I'm not trying to bust your Canucks about it. How does
your Canucks? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. How does Superman deal with a villain who is not just like a one person in front of them, but how does he fight an environment? How does he fight something that's not a person but an avatar of a larger concept? Because it'd be like Thor fighting eternity. Like, how does that fight actually go? And here's the thing: I'm totally willing to concede Superman on this. I want to know actually how, not just well, he's fucking Superman. Like, okay,
yeah. No, you're right that like Superman will find a way to win because it's DC Comics and they'll invent a power if they have to. But actually talking through how it happens,
right?
The thing about Superman is, you're right that like Swamp Thing is kind of everywhere, but he's also made of plant and can burn. And I think that the start of heat vision would really help Superman with that. In terms of the like ability to keep destroying what Swamp Thing was, like it is still a boxing fight, right? Like they're in a boxing ring fighting. Swamp Thing will be able to regenerate and create a new Swamp Thing, but he's already lost in that scenario. And then he'll come back with a new Swamp Thing, right? In the same way that Lobo could come back from being a single-celled organism, but like he's lost at that point. Otherwise he just infinitely wins, right? So the avatar of Swamp Thing we get there, I buy that Batman can't really do anything to that unless if he can separate himself from the green, and that seems kind of unreasonable to say Batman would more likely than not always separate him from the green, right? But Superman can beat that piece of Swamp Thing, that not the green, because he's not the green. There have been multiple Swamp Things for a reason, right? He's not fighting the green. He's not fighting the concept of all plant life on Earth. He's fighting this avatar, and I think he could top the avatar. Now, I do think that it's a incredibly close fight, and it's one of those ones like you'd get at the end of any good Superman story where he almost loses, but just turns it around at the end.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, somehow the Swamp Thing was corrupted by the rot or something like that, and Clark just finds a way around it. But if it's like Swamp Thing in his own mind, or whatever his consciousness is qualified as, and Clark of his own mind, they're just going at it one-on-one. You're right. Heat vision is a very good. It's a really good argument because, like, plants famously burn. But I mean, here's the thing. Going into this, I was like, Superman's winning this. I just want to see
how we get there. Yeah, and
how we get there. Because putting him up against anybody, it's like, well, at the end of the day, the argument is as simple as I pretended it wasn't. He is Superman. He has, like, also of his weaknesses. This is important. Of his weaknesses, Al or Holland or whichever avatar we want to talk about, Swamp Thing does not inherently have magical abilities that are on the level of like a Zatanna or a Dr. Fate, or
like he's magic with air quotes around it, but he's not like saying magical things backwards and depowering Superman and stuff like that.
He's supernatural, but I would not categorize him as magical.
Yeah,
in his base form. And even if he was magical, like I said, we're not talking about Dr. Fate or Spectre. Those are magical entities on a whole other different level, a multiversal level. So
to me, it just really comes down to the structure of the fight. Like, Superman can never kill Swamp Thing because he'll just be another part, like different plant life somewhere else.
Yeah.
Even like a single-celled plant amoeba on Mars or whatever. He's over there being Swamp Thing. But that's not what this is. This is that physical form that's there, right? Like, you can make multiples, like you can make a bunch of clones or whatever and make it into a much more annoying fight. But Swamp Thing's never going to actually take out Superman in that scenario, and Superman's just going to keep going until eventually that avatar is gone. He'll be safe. Like, Swamp Thing will then just be a tree outside or like whatever he needs to be and regenerate. But that doesn't give him a win in a knockout tournament, Dragon Ball Z style.
Yeah. So it's, it's an incredibly, honestly, this is maybe a out of left field argument, and then we can wrap up because we've already said Superman wins. But I almost think like Clark would view Swamp Thing as Mr. Mixius-Pedalic, where you can get rid of the problem for a while, but like you're never going to actually like defeat that entity, that character.
That is a great way. He can win this one-on-one battle, but he'll never finish the war. Like, if they were actually fighting to the death on Earth, it would just keep researching.
It would just never end.
Yeah.
Which honestly, that would be a great idea for a limited series. But yeah, I'd say the winner of our DC K.O. tournament, Faz, is
Superman. I'm shocked. It's almost like I'm biased and you couldn't find a way to wriggle your way out of it because I took the magic user off the board.
I got Aquaman and Swamp Thing to the final four. I'm happy.
Okay, fair enough. You made some very convincing arguments. You can tell that you prepped and I didn't, because you had ways to make it work. I'm just glad I convinced you on Batman and Zatanna, just because of the fact that she's not quite as locked in as some of these other guys. That's the difference.
That honestly was a factor that I hadn't thought of like, oh, right, Bruce is like always locked in. And there are times where like even heroes with great power don't always bring their best selves to the fight.
Yeah.
So just because it's like just because you're carrying the biggest gun doesn't mean you can aim for shit.
But it's also like being able to get off the blocks right away. Zatanna needs slightly longer than Batman. That might be all it takes. Swamp Thing isn't really impacted by Bruce starting a split second earlier.
Timing doesn't matter there.
No, right. Whereas like Zatanna, if he can like put something and cover her mouth before she can use her magic, then he's just fighting a 20-something-year-old girl with no combat skills, or some combat skills, but not like Batman. So like it becomes a very simple fight. Unless if his heartstrings are pulled on because she's one of his 50,000 exes, right? That's always an issue there too.
50,000 exes.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan. Any final thoughts on this DC K.O. bracket? Do you have anybody on this list that you think would have beat Superman if they got there?
I mean, there's some magical opponents that you could probably throw. You could throw a different, kind of thought at it, but Clark kind of has obviously he's the archetype of what a superhero is.
Mhm.
But nobody on this list has a skill set that emphasizes Clark's weaknesses to the level, like, again, I know I just mentioned, like, if we're like, if Dr. Fate's on this list, it's a different conversation, at least. If the Spectre is on this list, that's a different conversation.
Especially if Spectre's fused with Darkseid, then it's a really different conversation.
Like, well, yeah.
Everybody go read DC K.O.
But like magic wielders and kryptonite, whatever. Kryptonite weakens Superman. It's not an automatic kill.
And the magic users are the same thing. Like Zatanna would be able to limit Superman's powers for sure. But like,
right,
can she win that? But I don't know. Like, I think I would have picked Lex if he made the semis through Superman.
I mean, why?
So a couple things. Number one, Lex would be willing to do what needs to be done before Superman would. Superman might hesitate because of where their relationship's kind of been going, whereas Lex, just like, again, spoiler for DC K.O, he does what has to be done in order to get the win, right? When Superman's back is turned, he finishes the job. So that's the first thing. Two, the way that Lex took out Supergirl with the red K and all that kind of stuff, he could do the same stuff to Superman, but with a better plan because he's fought Superman before. And they fought a million times, right? And there's an argument that Superman would be able to deal with that as well. Like, it wouldn't be as clear cut as Lex and Supergirl for me. But like, there are reasons that I think he would get through, and in kind of a knockdown, drag out 1v1 battle, I could see him doing that. But I would have had to see a Lex Batman final, I think, if we got there. I wouldn't have seen Swamp Thing through Batman in that scenario if Lex was waiting on the other side.
If Lex would have gotten to the final four, and I'm not willing to have a nerd temper tantrum over it, but I do legitimately think there are ways Aquaman can beat Lex. I mean, I already gave all of them. But I don't think, like, in my heart of hearts, even if Lex gets through Superman, I think both Batman and Swamp Thing present very difficult problems for Lex because he can't kryptonite his way out of that.
Yeah, there's no magic bullet of kryptonite to get around there,
right?
Which makes it tough. And unless if there was ever a scientist who was going to do the science thing to separate Swamp Thing from the Green, that's Lex Luthor.
Right.
But Batman, you can't remove the bat from the man. You've just got man at that point.
The bat is the man. The man is the bat.
You just have man or you just have bat. Neither one of those sounds like a good time.
Yeah. In that scenario, I think Bruce beats Lex. But I still pretty confident, pretty firm in that Swamp Thing is not he's not a pushover. I just don't. The alternate finish of Lex and Batman, that's the one I'm willing to give Batman.
Yep, I'm willing to give Batman that for sure. Yeah, that's the most, because he doesn't have a thing. Like, you can't separate him from the Green. You can't hit him with green kryptonite or all the other types of kryptonite. You have to beat him, and that's hard for someone like Lex to do. Okay,
and eventually that comes down to a fight, and I think Batman's a superior fighter than Lex. I know Lex is not like just a wuss in a metal suit.
If Lex and Superman are both depowered, Lex might actually win that fight, but he's not winning the fight against Batman like that. There's more to it than that. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts before we call Heimdall and get us back where we should be?
No, there was just one last thought was there were so many main players in DC K.O. that weren't even on the official bracket that DC came out with. Like Joker's not on here. There's Shazam's not on here.
Well, read DC K.O. for both of those.
So it's like, and other characters that pop up in it, but major characters weren't even on this. So I just find it funny that eventually the bracket really did fall apart in the narrative, which I'm cool with because I loved DC K.O.
Yeah, it fits the story really well, but it isn't really power scaling or like who would win 9 times out of 10 or 6 times out of 10. Yeah. So it's fun to do it this way too and kind of get a feel for it. But you can also see, listeners, how by the numbers this is in comparison, right? Like, there's no twists, there's no turns. There are a few fights that are close, but you always kind of get a feel for who should win. And the way that they did it was different and more fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Aquados? You're
No,
good?
takes out, man.
All right, listeners. Whether you are defeating a literal demon from hell in order to protect yourself, whether you are fighting somebody with sharp talons and that's about it, whether you're fighting a lady with a big hammer and you're trying not to hit her too hard, whether you're fighting the literal embodiment of all water in the universe or multiverse, whether you're fighting the literal embodiment of all plant life in the multiverse, and whether you're just fighting all these living embodiments and you go, hey man, why am I fighting all these living embodiments? Am I the living embodiment of hope?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. We're gonna call Heimdall, get us back over to Asgard. We've been beyond the Bifrost for too long, but whether you're doing any of those things, guys, just do two things. That is, stay super and stay worthy.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power.
Good stuff. That was good. It's a predictable ending, but it was fun.
What? They what?
Predictable ending, but it was fun.
Oh yeah, but it's not where you go, it's how you get there.